Ooh.
GTG.
Twitch is not working.
Fuck Twitch.
Well, we're just going to have to live without it.
Turn my phone off Wi-Fi.
Oops. All right. Yeah, it just went up. Sweet. Well, we're live on everything, but they can't hear shit. Yeah. You ready? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. What's up, everyone? How are we doing today? My name is Amp. To my left, I would say, is T-Dub Tyler Williams. And this is
Yo.
60-minute suspension. How you doing today, Tyler?
I'm good, buddy. How are you? Just had some chicken nuggets and some French fries. You saw me.
I saw it and I heard it. Quite crunchy.
And it was sad. It was sad. French fries is the theme of the day because I'm crying.
What was your dipping sauce choices?
I got like this chili garlic. I have a traditional ranch and Heinz tomato ketchup in, one of my favorite bottles, the squeezable bottles here.
Huh. Good old Heinz. I didn't even know they were still in business.
What do you
I'm
mean?
just kidding. I'm just no.
It's an insult. Ketchup lovers.
It's an insult to the ketchup users. You know, I'm not a huge ketchup fan, though. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I know you're not, but there's a lot of ketchup fanatics.
I don't get it, man.
Have you
got this like.
Have you talked to Liam Murphy?
Who?
Liam Murphy, or any of the Murphys in general.
Do they just drench it in ketchup?
Dude, I mean, they're ketchup. They're just ketchup fiends. Like, they get Costco ketchup. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, like the
bottles for the price of one.
like the what do you call them? The massive troughs of ketchup. That's what they get.
It's awesome though. Ketchup's always around.
It's like a salt, sugary taste. This is what we talk about on the sports show. Ketchup.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of got off on a tangent. Hey, but we haven't really even finished introducing ourselves, truthfully.
Yeah, I mean, my name's Amp, and I'm audio checking while I'm listening to Tyler talk, so it's great.
Yeah, and my name's Tyler. So You can call me T-Dub. Some people call me that. You may notice today I'm wearing my Jalen Ramsey jersey.
I did notice
that might be a topic of tonight. You notice that?
It looks.
You like it?
Yeah, I mean, it looks great. I love the 20, man. I always thought 20 was a good jersey number.
Yeah, it is a good jersey number. It is a good jersey number. You know, I mean, what are some other 20s that you can probably think of?
What was his name? Henry, Travis Henry.
Yeah, he was either 20 or 21. He played for two teams, so he could have been or two or three teams. One of the Barbers were 20, so it was Rondé Barber. He was pretty good as a 20.
Sorry, I wasn't listening. I was listening to our audio check. Sorry.
I said Rondé Barber was
Rondé Barber. That's right. Yeah, Rondé. Gosh, I miss that guy. One of my favorites. You know, he's a commentator now.
He's pretty good. You know, I like him. Solid dude.
So
him and his brother.
Anyways, sorry, I'm trying to get all my audio in order while Tyler's talking, so it's great, and I'm also distracted. But thank you guys for tuning in. This is 60 Minute Suspension, and today's episode, as you can tell by the title, we're talking about Jalen Ramsey today.
Yeah, the Jalen Ramsey 2.0, the man, the myth, the legend. Already a legend.
Some would say crybaby.
Some would say crybaby. A lot would say that. A lot would say that. There's a certain divide amongst the Jags fan base right now.
It's weird.
You know,
it's a weird dynamic right now because some people are staying true to your Jaguar fandom, you know, which obviously is respectable. You know, that's kind of how people want to attack this situation. But also, there's Jalen Ramsey's probably one of the best players the Jaguars have had in a long time. Skilled, I would say, skilled player. I mean, single-handedly, you can just leave him on an island by himself, and he's literally one of the best corners right now in the league.
Absolutely.
So it's weird because, so long story short, if you haven't been keeping up, Jalen Ramsey and Doug Marrone got in an argument in this last game. Basically, we see Jalen yelling after a play where DeAndre Hopkins supposedly catches a ball, but Jalen's saying he didn't catch it, and he's yelling for the challenge flag from Doug Marrone. And Doug Marrone, you can't see Doug Marrone in any of the cameras yelling back at him, but you can clearly understand that Doug Marrone's like, no, I'm not throwing the challenge flag. I'm the head coach, like, you know. And I'm kind of putting words in his mouth, but, you know, you can kind of surmise what the situation is. And Doug Marrone's just like, no, not doing it. So then after that drive, Jalen comes off incredibly angry, just furious. He's kind of crying, yelling, and he's getting held back by an assistant coach, and he's on the bench, kind of just still yapping. And then, what'd you say?
Nothing.
And so then Doug Marrone comes kind of storming over, you know, and he starts yelling in Jalen's face, like bends over and kind of just gets in his grill. And you can tell he's yelling, like, by the way, like his shoulders are kind of moving and everything. And all the players are kind of just like staring at him. And I forgot who it was. I think it was the safety. Kind of pulls Doug away. Like he has to pull Doug away and push Doug away. And by the end of that game, the Jaguars still lose. And Jalen is just furious. And then literally not less than 24 hours later, you get this report that Jalen is requesting a trade. Like literally not 24 hours later, Jalen claims, so Jalen came out with a press conference yesterday, and he claims that him and his agent did not leak that.
I forgot who.
What were you going to say?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you for a second now.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, hear me now?
Is that better?
Is that better?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. We got an echo.
Last I heard, you said you forgot who it was.
So all I was saying was that that Jalen had a press conference and his agent, or that Jalen during the press conference said that he told his agent strictly that he does not want he doesn't want that going out in the public. That's what he said in his press conference. So somehow the leak came out that Jalen wants to trade. Obviously, if they reached out to other teams and stuff, or they reached out to other GMs, I mean, anyone could have leaked it. So,
yeah,
you know, that's hearsay at this point with Jalen and his agent. So, let's kind of fast forward to the press conference itself. Well, first off, what do you take from this? I mean, just kind of from face value, seeing what went down between Doug and Jalen. You know, is anyone at fault? Or we just
from face value, it's just there's just not a good look from any direction. You know, from the coach's standpoint, from the Jaguar standpoint, from Jalen's standpoint, there's not really much of a good look. You know, Jalen, in a sense, is being kind of a crybaby, is being kind of dramatic. I think one of the commentators said it best, like, great men don't trip over mountains; they trip over molehills. Like, that's exactly what he's doing. Yeah. You know, he's like he's taking small things and he's like tripping over them. And then at the same time, he's saying like, you know, I just want to win. Well, Jalen, what's stopping you from winning? You know, we were 1 point from winning. You could have had a pick six. You know, you dropped a pick six. That would have won the game pretty much. You know, so. At the end of the day, I think this is an ultimate cop-out. However, to be completely fair with Jalen, I see it from the angle of Doug. That was kind of like, as Doug Marrone, you either got to, like, kick him off the field, you know, and then deal with it afterwards, or you got to – I don't really know. I don't really know because he didn't do it. He didn't do it right.
Who are you talking about, Doug?
Or he should have just not – he should –
You're talking about Doug, right?
What'd you say? Yeah, Doug. He didn't approach Jalen appropriately. You know, he should have just let it go the second go around. I think the call was correct on the field overall. That sparked this whole thing.
Yeah, that was the other thing. Like when I looked at it, I had to watch the play a couple times. It looked fine. You know, I think Jalen kind of overreacted over that.
Yeah, and the ball's allowed to move.
Right.
You know, it just as long as it's still
as long as it doesn't hit the ground. Like as long as any part of the ball doesn't touch the ground, as long as you have like body between you and the ground, you know.
I could see how in real time you can easily see that. You know, you can be like, oh my God, that was incomplete.
Right.
You know, but like looking at the replay, they're just maybe it wasn't incomplete. But the call. But when I said correct call, I meant like, well, he called it, but like if he would have called it incomplete, and they went to review that, I don't think they could have overturned it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I think it was not indisputable, but it just didn't have enough to overturn the call. So
this could stem deeper than this play. Yeah. So obviously we're kind of focusing on this and stuff, but Tyler and I kind of covered this a couple weeks ago. Jalen was on this podcast out in Tennessee called Bussin' with the Boys. And he said that he would rather play, or probably rather play, in the Titans or the Raiders. So this hostility or animosity has been building up for some time. Throughout the press conference, he also talks about how much he just wants to win. Like, that's his focus is winning. And that's all he cares about is winning. And he used a couple of fucks and shits to express that viewpoint. But it was a weird press conference, man. Like,
it was weird. It just didn't confirm any single thing, which I don't think any of us were expecting to. But I think all of us are more confused now.
Yeah. Like,
in a sense.
Nowhere.
And like, sorry, not to correct you, but I think you might be misquoting Jalen a little bit with Bussin' with the Boys. They asked him about if he hits free agency, what would be some destinations that he would think about.
Yeah.
But he didn't. But he didn't really name Jacksonville, and you know, Nashville and Las Vegas were his home teams. Anyways, so in his press conference, I think we're all a little bit more confused than when we went into today. You know.
Right.
This is hard, man. All around, this is hard. Like, I think I talked to you like yesterday and said like it feels worse than our 2-14 season. You know, like this just feels so bad. It's week 2.
It's not a good. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not a good sight, man. I mean, from an office perspective, you know, there's a lot of players on the Jaguar side that you know just don't seem happy. These don't seem happy, you know, and. We're talking about, like, if you look at the roster as a whole, you know, Telvin Smith left last season. claiming, he just needed a break, and he just left. And we really didn't get an explanation on why. Now, obviously, his brother passed away not too long after or before he actually left the team.
Yeah, that was like 2 years. I think it was like 2 years ago.
And so some people quote that as being kind of the main reason he never had a chance to really grieve over that. Some other people claim, he was just tired, just exhausted, which can happen. That's totally understandable. And then you keep looking at the roster, and I saw a really cool picture the other day that someone posted in the fan group or whatever, and they were talking about all the secondary guys that have already passed on. So if you look at that AFC Championship run team, you had people like Gibson, Barry Church, Ramsey, who was it? Colvin, yeah, Aaron Colvin, and then AJ, and then Ramsey, yeah. And out of those 5, you only have Ramsey and AJ left. Now, obviously, Barry was a little bit older, so that makes sense that he kind of moves on. But Gibson, you could make the argument he wasn't really producing that great. But Aaron Colvin was a tough one, I think, for a lot of people, because he was like that third corner that was really good, stout, honestly. And he just gave you that almost triple coverage that every team wanted, So
I think the Jags are making terrible free agency decisions by not being active, because Aaron Colvin came on the market after getting toasted by the Saints. And he's familiar with the Jags. He's familiar with this defense. He's familiar with the players. He's familiar with the Texans. We could have easily signed him, got some inside info, and put him in when Bouyer's out. He could have walked right in the game and understood everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why are we not making decisions like that? We could pay him league minimum because he's still making $7.5 million from the Texans this year.
Eric Matthews chimes in and he says, should have kept Gibson. Colvin wanted too much money. Can't pay a slot corner that much. Which obviously, you can't.
Yeah.
Eric Matthews.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, we totally should have kept Gibson. I think he did feel in that he understood the Tom needs to go. Yeah, he's talking about Tom Coughlin. Bringing it back around to the back of the seat, like you were saying about the free agency choices. And you and I, Tyler, we were talking about this last night, and now that Eric brings it up, Tom Coughlin, old school dude, and he doesn't evolve with his teams. And you saw that in New York. You saw that with the Giants.
Right.
And now that we're actually in deep, at least 2 years in now, or going into 2 years with Tom, you're definitely seeing that huge now. You don't see any connection between Tom and the players. Right.
No. Yeah, I think you're completely correct about that. He's at a disconnect. He's kind of an archaic, type coach where he's just kind of definitely old school, definitely everybody must even the comments he made this fall about he was fined. Wasn't he fined or warned or something like that by the NFLPA about the word voluntary and pretty much out and blatantly saying you must be here even though it's voluntary. But I forgot who he was talking about, but he was warned for it. It might have been Jalen. I don't know, but he was warned for it. And that's the type of coach he is.
You can even go back to the end of last season where he was calling Leonard Fournette lazy. In the middle of a press conference. What are you doing? Why would you say that about your player? He said that about, I think, Jalen as well, calling them both lazy. I'm not sure if it was Jalen or someone else, but
probably is TJ Yeldon because that whole
TJ, that's right.
That whole last game incident where they were just disconnected from the game.
But why would you say that? Especially with Leonard. Leonard's one of your.
Because that's the way old school heads think. Call them out in front of people is the way old school heads think instead of connecting with them. It's just different with these players these days. You got to connect with them. You can't. They're not going to respond. Just no player these days is going to respond to being called out by your superior in the media. It's just not going to happen. They're gonna in fact probably rebel and force against that. And that's just what Tom Coughlin is. And we even talked about last night on the phone. I think we talked a little bit more also about like some of the contracts that the Jags signed that pissed off some of these players like Jalen Ramsey. And Miles Jack signed a decent contract, but we also talked about like some of the non-premium positions that were signed, like Andrew Norwell or Brandon Linder. While he may be good, but these two guys are getting paid top money at their position. Miles Jack's contract's pretty top too, but his position also isn't premium. And then of course the Blake Bortles contract probably is the one that has really hurt the Jags the most in this whole situation. No matter what we think of Bortles, the whole situation is set up bad because of the dead money in this contract, and that's what's holding a lot of stuff back. So we're still paying Bortles like $16 million, or like that's what's counted against us.
Crazy
for this year. So, and then of course Nick Foles is injured. So these contract situations have really pissed off the Jags, and where they're prioritizing. Ngakoue, he needs to be paid. Do you think we're going to be able to get these guys paid? Because if and is it beneficial to trade Ramsey since we kind of, for lack of better terms, fucked ourselves? Because is it better to trade Ramsey and get some more as an organization, get some more draft capital, or is it better to keep Ramsey? Honestly, it's cheaper to keep Ramsey for 2 more years if we can figure out a way to make him happy for 1 year, re-sign him next year. It's really hard. That's a really hard thing to do, I think.
You covered a lot of stuff there, and to kind of backpedal on everything you said, with the Bortles, he signed a 3-year, $54 million contract that included $26.5 million in guarantees. So that is reference to what you were saying, how we still owe him that $16 million. So if anyone's still wondering why Blake's still on our salary cap, that's why we still owe him. No matter if we cut him or not, like that was part of the contract. It doesn't matter. We still owe him that money. That basically makes Bortles one of the highest paid backups. Essentially, we're doing that, and he doesn't even play for us. To continue on what you're talking about, Ngakoue. He's talking about how he wanted to renegotiate, try to get a contract extension, and he even said this, and I quote, "They had a chance to sign me for a long-term deal, but it didn't get done. It is what it is. I love football, love my teammates, and I'm here to play games." You know what's funny? Like when a lot of these players for the Jaguars lately, they've been playing face. So when I say when they're playing face, a lot of them are saying, and Jalen did this in the press conference too, listen, I just want to play and I want to win and I'm here with my teammates. None of them so far has said, I love playing in Jacksonville. I love this organization. I love my head coach. You don't hear that from these players. And that should be a huge sign to Shad. That should be a huge sign to Shad Khan. I don't know why I can't speak today, but at the end of the day, I mean, you don't hear that coming from players from the Patriots. I mean, Bill Belichick's one of the toughest SOB coaches out there, but none of his players ever talk smack about him. None of his players ever give him smack. They understand that there's a system that wins championships. You know what I mean? Aaron Rodgers, with all the crap that went down with his head coaches and everybody, he's never once said a negative thing about the organization. He's always loved being a Green Bay Packer. The only other player that's like a standout player recent is Antonio Brown. And that's a topic for another day. But, he kind of finagled his way to the Patriots, and, we'll explain that in another show. But he was kind of one of the only premium players right now who really talks smack about it. I mean, Allen Robinson left the Jaguars. Make no mistake about that. I don't think the Jaguars lost him. I think he didn't want to play. Like, it had to be some stupid contract to keep Allen Robinson here, if that makes sense. And everyone talked about it. Everyone said, you got to pay him the big bucks, and we can't afford that. I mean, because he probably put a premium on himself, honestly, for the Jags.
Yeah. I agree with you on that one. I definitely agree with you on that. So to an extent, we're losing players because of our situation. And like you were saying, no player is saying like I want to go play in Jacksonville. I want to, I love playing in Jacksonville. I love my head coach. You don't hear players saying that. Somebody else brought up another point I read the other day. It was like nobody names Jacksonville as when is a player named Jacksonville as a top 5 destination or whatever for them to play. Probably at one point, like in like 2016, 17 or so or around there. But like other than that, never really, it hardly ever is mentioned because the city is kind of a low key city, small market. But at the same time, you don't get much media exposure. A lot of players miss out on Pro Bowls, stuff like that. It's kind of a whole different situation. So like we're missing out on players because not only because of the city reputation, but like also the coaches and the front office. And then I also think Dave Caldwell may not be the best GM, but I kind of think he's getting choked out, by he's always been the younger connection. Like he was a younger GM when he first got hired. Of course, he's bald now, but like he's been on the job for like what 7, 8 years now.
Yeah, he was here for Gus.
I think he was here for Malarkey too. So he hired Gus.
And so, like to jump on everything that you're saying, and then adding more insult to injury for the players that want these extensions. Okay, nothing against Foles. Okay, he got hurt in the first game. You can't put anything against him for that. But let's look at his contract real quick. It's an $88 million deal, $50 million guaranteed. The Jaguars put a bidding war against themselves. Like they basically kept outbidding themselves for some reason. Now, maybe other players were offering maybe like, just a little bit to keep upping the price. But I think the Jaguars were so desperate for a quarterback that they kind of reached really hard for Nick Foles. Again, Nick Foles is an MVP, Super Bowl MVP. Okay, like this guy's got skills, and unfortunately, I don't know if we'll see these skills before the end of the season. They're saying we will, but it's a broken collarbone, so that takes time. But I mean, you paid him $50 million, and no offense, but he was outshined by Carson Wentz, and
that's questionable.
It's up in the air, man. Like, does that quarterback, did he deserve that money over Ngakoue? Did he deserve that over Jalen Ramsey? Like, I think that's a viewpoint that the players are bringing into this because, I mean, at the end of the day, where are your priorities for the Jags organization? They kept saying we're a run-first team at the beginning of the season. That's why they put so much emphasis on the line and on Leonard Fournette. So maybe you could have saved some of that money and put it into Ngakoue or into Jalen Ramsey, and then made some of your star defensive players who are younger and would last longer. You could have saved some of that money for them and then pushed them forward, and that might have encouraged the rest of the league and been like, "Whoa, all right, the Jags they actually respect their young talent, like they want something to do." But instead, they went out and paid a lot of money for a first/second stringer.
Right. I hear you on that. I do want to point out that Foles' contract, he was due to receive $20 million in Philly. So, for him to, like I said, Jags are not a top 5 destination for players. So Jags tend to have to overspend. We're paying $22 million for him, I think, a year, which is still like top 16 in the league, which is decent, but the fact that we also have the Blake Bortles contract on top of it is what's, like I said, killing us. And God, I had something else to say about what you just said, but
well, while you're thinking about it, Brian Proctor chimed in. He said, "But if they didn't go after him, everyone would have bitched about keeping Bortles." Yeah, they would have. But was there other options, or was there?
I think we just should have kept Bortles. And the other option I was thinking of, you have to pay. You are at a situation where you think you're a quarterback away. This whole time we were like, we're just a quarterback away. We're just a quarterback away. Nick was the best thing we saw. We got him before the draft. So we didn't know we didn't know we were going to get a Gardner Minshew who like appears to be some like a diamond in the rough at the moment. But it's only 2 games in, but he's looking really good. So that could also take Ramsey off. He's like, damn, you guys could have drafted a quarterback in the 6th round this whole time, and like you could have paid me a long time ago. I mean, that's a long reach, but still, that kind of stuff could happen. But like I said, the whole thing with paying Ngakwe or Nick Foles or quarterback, I think you really have to go quarterback because and then you drafted Josh Allen.
Now, I'll give this
So,
to Nick Foles. He brings a veteran presence to the team that we desperately need.
Mhm.
Like, it's so desperate. And not only that, he won a Super Bowl and he was the MVP of that Super Bowl. So to bring that to a team that is just yearning for a championship, we are like basically begging for a championship at this point. To have that type of veteranism, if that's a word, to have that in that locker room, I think is huge. It's just a matter of bringing the younger guys to listen to him, because he is the new guy. So I think Calais really needs to step up in that locker room and be like, yo, look, Nick knows what he's talking about. He's been to the dance, and I think to Calais go also with the Cardinals when he was there.
yeah, he was part of that team, but they didn't win.
But he was there,
he was,
So
I'm pretty sure.
So, I mean, it's just at the end of the day, and you and I were talking about this yesterday, I think at the end of the day, the issue is the front office not evolving with the times. I really believe that. Like, you have to learn how to talk to the players. And I know a lot of people want to blame this or say that the NFL is turning into an NBA style league. When we say that, it's basically younger players are bitching about their contracts, bitching about their situation, and they want out or they want to build a super team or something like that. Like, I understand why people think that's the way they're going. But I mean, you got to look at Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown's like 30, 31. So he's not technically a young cat anymore. So his mentality is that's just selfishness. Like, I don't even think that's what Jalen is at right now. I don't think Jalen's in that same boat. I think Jalen legitimately from day one has always said, I love to win. I need to win. Like, there's some players out there that legitimately are driven by winning.
But do you feel like this might be a cop-out in a way? Because, like, think about it, Amp. We talked about it. The next 10 games are very winnable games, including two teams who don't have a starting quarterback just like us.
Yeah.
I mean...
But it hasn't been done yet, I think. That's the thing with Jalen. Like, he needs to see it. He needs to touch it,
But he's got to be part of it. You can't just, like, that's kind of like...
He's coming off a 2-14 season, man. That's brutal.
What'd you say?
He's coming off a 2-14 season. Like, that's brutal. Like, that beats you up.
We didn't go 2-14 last year. We went 5-11.
5-11, sorry.
Yeah, that's brutal indeed. But we also he's got to understand injuries. He's got to understand everything. Like, we won 3 of those 5 games in the first 4 games of the season. Like, you got to understand injuries. You got to understand situations. You're a football player. You're a professional. Like, I know you have. It seems like he has all the leverage right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that's what's driving everything. Is it's easy to drive up the radio. If you have the leverage, drive the dollar. Get your money. Like, do it. But like, like, greed is a bad karma kind of thing. To me, I don't know. And like, if you're not willing to work for the wins, are you really winning? Are you really, like, if you're not willing to turn the team around, if you're not willing to be a part of the change, if you're just willing to go to the Patriots or the Chiefs, are you winning, or are you just like, are you not that good enough to turn a team around to be a leader? Do you need somewhere to ride on, somewhere to hop on and ride on? I don't know. But let me ask you a question. And I want to answer this question too. Because I feel like I've been like a, kind of playing devil's advocate kind of.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and ask you the question. To keep Jalen Ramsey, he talks to Shad Khan and Dave Caldwell and says, you have to fire Tom Coughlin and Doug Marrone. Do you do it?
Ooh. To keep him, I don't think you do. I think it's only because you need to let him know who is the owner of the team. I will make, if I'm Shad Khan and I have that meeting with Jalen and he's saying that to me, I'm going to be like, Jalen, I'm sorry. We're going to have to let you go because you can't have that type of grip on the team. It's one thing to go to the GM and say something, be like, hey, like I'm tired of this head coach, blah, blah, blah. But to specifically go to the owner and give him ultimatums like that, I think that you're crossing a massive line. Because, I mean, that guy's leaving the lights on for you. So you can't, there's just no way I would agree to that. Now, if you use that same question to Caldwell, you say, Caldwell, I need Coughlin and Doug gone, or I want to trade. Now, that is a tough question. I don't know, man. If I was Caldwell, all right. I'll go down this path. I would do it. I think Jalen and the skill set that he brings and the talent that he brings. If he went to Caldwell and he said, "Look, I can't do this with Doug and Tom. I need better." If he went to Caldwell with that 100%, I would probably, well, I wouldn't say 100. I would have to take in consideration. I would tell Jalen, let me think about it, and I'll take it into tight consideration. I might even go as far with Jalen and be like, can we bring in the captains? Let's talk this out. Let's see what the grievances is with them, and go from there. I don't know if I could just automatically do it. I would need to investigate more on why, But I'm also going to say this, though. I don't really need Jalen to come in and tell me that. Like, if I'm Caldwell, Caldwell's done a lot for the organization. And I understand people saying, you got to give people time to develop and like coaches and their systems to develop. But I really think Doug has kind of pushed his point and his limit, and I'll be surprised if he's still a Jaguar by the end of this season. If he doesn't get it turned around, I don't think his what's the best way I can put this? Doug isn't a player's coach. Like, he might say he is, but he's definitely not. Like, you can see it in the way he talks to the players and the way that he's in that locker room. He's very much like Tom Coughlin. Like, they are like hand in hand, man. They're cold and they're very direct. They don't really see you as a person. They see you as an athlete or as a tool to win the game. I don't think they actually see the individuals. And I think that's what a lot of the issue or a lot of the hostility stems from with some of these younger players is like, we came from college. We came from hype and, connection and being close to those who lead us. And you come into this, and don't get me wrong, the NFL is a business. Like, look, you're throwing millions of dollars at these kids. Like, bro, it's a job. Suck it up. I get that mentality, but also it's not your normal 9-to-5 job either, and you guys are stuck with each other for, well over half a year. So you kind of got to be friends with these guys, right? So, sorry, that was a really long way to get to your answer. If Jalen came into Caldwell's office, yes, I think we would have a real conversation about it. But if he goes in Shad Khan's office, no way.
Yeah, Shad's too much of a baller, you're right? He just turned that down on the spot.
Yeah.
He'd make that decision. But if you ask me, I think Doug's gone, no matter what, so why not just go ahead and do it? Why, if he said, if I'm Dave Caldwell, I think Doug, if I'm already thinking like, man, if Doug doesn't get us to the playoffs, he's got to go.
Yeah.
But he's already got a rookie quarterback, but I can't just keep giving him these excuses. So, he's got to go if he doesn't get us to the playoffs. It's not looking like we're going to get to the playoffs right now. So I might say Jalen, like, trade deadline's October 29th or whatever, October 25th or October 29th. I can't quite remember. Let me reevaluate on October 20th, and then we'll get you out of here if it looks bad, but or we'll fire Doug if it looks bad, but just give me till October 20th. If not, Doug's on.
Yeah.
So I think I would do it. Long story short, I think I would do it.
So Boxer on Twitch chimes in. He said, first off, he gives you a shout out. It says, T-Dub, And then he says, for sure, not a player's coach, talking about Doug. And with a young team, I'm sure that even if we were able to trade Jalen, I see another guy having the same issues with this staff. The problem will continue until coaching is changed, in my opinion. So, I mean, I understand Doug's history, and don't get me wrong, he got us to the AFC Championship. That was awesome. But since then, it has been an absolute roller coaster downhill spiral. I mean, it has been rough the whole way down.
For him to win back the locker room when they were having problems since the AFC Championship, that game, like that's when it started. You know what I'm saying? That's when we lost that game, and after the game, and they were asking the players, and the players were like, because we went soft, we went zone, and we weren't attacking on offense, and that was a coach's decision. They said that. And from that point forward, the relationship between the coaches and the players was not the same.
And that's where I think that's a legitimate question. Like when you brought up the idea of Jalen going into Caldwell's office and talking his grievance. I mean, it makes sense that after that game, now obviously a lot of people can blame the fumble, the miscalled fumble, did Miles Jack pick it up or not? Obviously he did, but was he down or not? He wasn't, obviously. But even with that, it's Tom Brady, and I don't want to go all the way back to that game, but as a coaching staff, you have to be knowledgeable and understand the situation that you're in. You can't let off the gas pedal, and I'm 100% behind the players when they explain their side of that. So, the confidence in Doug and his staff obviously has gone down since that game, and everyone says winning cures all, and it's obvious. I mean, it's very obvious right now at this point. The Jaguars haven't won, since what, week 6? I mean, what did you say? Of last year.
I mean, I know. Well, they beat Indianapolis, and I was at that game, and that was December 2nd. Yep, December 2nd was the last time they won a football game.
It's a long time.
Yeah, it is a long time.
So, last thing I will say about this, there is talks of an actual trade for the Jaguars, and right now, CBS is reporting that Kansas City Chiefs, the Seattle Seahawks, and Philadelphia Eagles are all in contention for this, and a lot of people are throwing around a first-round pick with a player or a first-round pick with a fifth-round pick the following year. So no one's throwing out double first rounds. No one's throwing out anything like that.
That's pretty much been turned down by the Jags, and since that has come out, they've said like we're only accepting 2 second-round picks or 2 first-round picks, excuse me.
Which that's the value it should be at. I understand.
So, I mean, think about it. Laramie Tunsil was worth 2 first-round picks to the Texans. I mean, granted they don't have a GM, and Bill O'Brien is just guns a-blazing right now. God, that is hilarious. I love that.
So anyways, let's kind of move on. Hopefully the situation can settle down so the Jaguars can focus tomorrow night. They're playing the Tennessee Titans. Tyler, who's your pick for tomorrow night?
Definitely going to go with the Jags. I don't think the Titans are as good as that week 1, Browns beat that they, I think they're more like that Indianapolis game that they just played. And I don't believe in Mariota still. Henry is going to be really good this year. And he's typically very, very, very good against the Jags. I'm talking like 200-yard games, 99-yard runs, tossing us around like rag dolls, kind of good. Tomorrow we're going teal and black, though. So teal tops, black bottom. I like that combo.
It's always fun.
When are we going to do the all teal?
I don't know. It's up to Shai Khan's wife. Just kidding.
Is that like something?
Well, didn't you hear the rumor when he first bought the team that she designed the uniforms, like the first set? Do you remember that?
No, but that explains it a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh man, you didn't hear this rumor? Yeah, like she apparently, like, part of the whole process of him buying the team was that she got to pick the Jaguars uniform design and color scheme, I guess. Well, not color scheme because it was always going to be the same, but yeah. Anyways, I mean, my pick, I think the Jaguars will pull it together. Minshew is awesome. I think he's great for the organization. I think it's exactly the the spark that the offense needs, at least. I don't know about the defense, but on the offensive side of the ball, it's definitely the fun spark that they've been looking for. Everyone's having fun with him. He's a good-looking dude. He's got talent, and that mustache, man.
Did you hear, though, the news today on Minshew?
No.
Hold on. Gemstone right now. I'm about to drop on you.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Dude was offered $1 million sponsorship.
Wait, I heard about this. Yep.
by a porn site or something.
Yeah, my man.
Yeah.
That a boy.
He had to turn it down, unfortunately.
Well, I think it was the same ones that wanted to.
It was Bang Bros.
Yeah, I think so, because they wanted to do something with the stadium. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Anyways,
they must be killing it right now.
This is all great publicity for them, and great PR moves. But
it's all layers for the Jags too, so it's great stuff. All right.
But that's just a note. That's a lot more than he makes this season.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Also, Amp, for league minimum, NFL league minimum, I'll sleep on a bed of dirty janitor socks.
Oh, I was gonna get there. We're not there yet.
No, I'm just saying that's just one thing I do.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of Garner Minshew's contract.
Yeah, right. Okay, so moving on real quick. So I was using him as a segue to our next topic, which if you do like NFL and if you like watching the games, keeping up with it, or if even you play fantasy football, then you're understanding right now that the starting quarterbacks in this league are being diminished. Like there's like a complete overhaul of starting quarterbacks right now. 7 starting quarterbacks are injured as of right now. So that means you have 7 starting backups going into week 3. Starting at the top of this list, I'll kind of go down the list, Tyler, and you give me a yay or a nay if you think they can handle the pressure, okay? So starting at the top.
Handle the pressure of being injured? What do you mean?
No, the backups. Can they handle the pressure and maybe win some games? Yeah. So starting out, this isn't necessarily an injury, but he came out and retired. Andrew Luck, the shock of the year. Andrew Luck retires before the start of the season. Incredible stuff. So Jacoby Brissett ends up becoming the backup. Now, Tyler, first off, we should note that he's 2-0 since this. But as you were saying, the team's not that great. What do you think of Jacoby? Is he a valuable option for them? Can he truck this out until the end of the season? Maybe even actually win the job?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to give him a complete yay. The dude is a baller. Is he 2-0? Did they win the first week? I thought they might have lost the first week.
No. I'm sorry. No, he's 0-2. Sorry.
0-2? No, yeah. They beat the Titans. So he should be 1. But anyways, I'm going to give him a yay. Absolutely. I think he's really good. I wish he got a chance to play at Florida because I'm a big Gator fan and I wanted to watch him, but he transferred to NC State and then eventually beat up on the Seminoles, I think. So that was decent to watch. But he's definitely got the team moving in the right direction. It's in the absence of Andrew Luck, unfortunately, and I'm glad he retired because the person needs to take care of their body as much as they can. But this is a little nugget I think that's been overlooked. The Colts actually signed Jacoby Brissett to I think a 2 or 3 year deal for $30 million, something that Blake Bortles probably should have got. Yeah. But he got that 2 or 3 year contract, and that's a pretty good hey, we'll probably make it bigger if you keep playing well, but we're going to go and solidify you as our starting quarterback for the next at least 2 years.
So there you go. There's a yay for Jacoby. And if you didn't know about him, he actually came from New England, and he backed up Tom Brady when he was hurt for a little while. And, I mean, he didn't do awful, but anyways, moving on.
Got some rookie time in there for the Patriots.
Yeah, exactly. Next on the list that I have here, Teddy Bridgewater. Now, this one's interesting. Drew Brees basically messed up his thumb, and he's going to be out for a few weeks. He went in for surgery, I believe yesterday or Tuesday, to get it, or Tuesday or Monday to get it fixed. I think it was Monday. But anyways, Teddy Bridgewater comes in. His only real focus was Michael Thomas right in the middle for 5 yards repeatedly 6 times in a row. I only know that because Mike Thomas is in my fantasy league or on my team. And if it wasn't for those small catches for 10 yards, he would have been absolutely nothing. So, yay or nay on Teddy Bridgewater? Injury prone, has been to 3 teams now. What do you think?
Nay. I got to say nay. As talented as they are, I just didn't see hope in them. In fact, the Saints are actually going with a 2-quarterback system, and they haven't even named the starter yet. So there's going to be a lot of Taysom Hill playing quarterback. It's probably going to be a lot of schemey type things because he's very fast. So, man, I think it's going to be. I feel bad for Bridgewater, but I think his career is kind of like. I don't really think he's that good of a quarterback. I didn't think he was amazing before. I'm glad the Jags didn't go after him. So I got to say nay.
Okay. Yeah. Moving on down the list, Mason Rudolph for the Steelers. This is an interesting situation. Ben Roethlisberger went down with a season-ending injury, so he's done. So now Mason Rudolph has no choice. What do you think about this kid? I mean, we don't know much about him. What do you think?
I'm kind of like even keel with him. I'm not like wowed or anything like that. He threw kind of like a decent flea flicker the other day, so that was kind of cool. He's got weapons around him with Vance McDonald and Juju Smith, and it looks like James Conner is going to play this week. So he's got tools around him with a decent offensive line, a pretty good offensive line. He's got the chances for success. I'm just not like completely sold on him. So I'm like 50-50, neutral. Call me neutral.
Call him neutral.
Yeah, especially with the Steelers being 0-2, it's kind of an ugly look,
You're right. Yeah. These other two, you can kind of fly through these two. Luke Falk for the New York Jets. He's kind of replacing the injured, or not the injured, the sick. What's his name out there? Sam Darnold. Yeah. What do you think about Luke Falk?
Yeah, and then the injured Trevor Siemian.
And Siemian too got hurt. Yeah.
That was gross. Luke Falk looked good. I mean, he looked good. What is 20 of 22 or something like that? I don't know. He looked pretty decent, but no hope for the Jets at any time, at any point this season.
I mean, their whole team is hurt. Like everyone's gone down. It's incredible.
I know. It's incredible. I gotta say nay. They're playing the Patriots this week, and it's going to be a high-scoring defensive game for them, like they did against Miami. They're favored by 23.5 points. Stupid.
Moving on, Carolina. Cam Newton also has a foot injury of some kind going on. He's expected to miss practice all week, so they're expecting that Kyle Allen is going to step in for this week. What do you think of Kyle? Do you think he can even handle it? Do they even need him? I mean, you got Christian McCaffrey back there basically doing everything. What do you think?
Who is Kyle Allen? That's a serious question. I honestly never heard of that guy.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's just the name that they have here.
Fucking nay. Next person.
All right. So then the last two I wanted to say for last because I know we'll have fun with these two. But let's do Gardner Minshew first. Obviously, Gardner, he's been playing since week 1, but he's still a backup and, filling in for Nick Foles for a while now. Building up to this point and for the foreseeable future, what do you think? Yay or nay on Gardner? Do you think he's the real deal or, what do you think?
I'm not saying he's the real deal. He's performing with the best right now. If as far as game, statistically looking at other players, he's number 2 amongst the many categories. I also give him a yay for the upcoming schedule. I think we just went over 3 quarterbacks who he'll be facing against. If Cam's not playing for the Panthers, but he'll eventually play either Teddy Bridgewater or Taysom Hill. Or he'll play. He's also going to play, I think, the Jets. So he'll play whoever the Jets lineup back there. It may be Falk or it could be somebody different at that point because they're all out of quarterbacks. If I'm correct, but I look for him to hand the ball back to Nick Foles with at least 4 wins, which is pretty good for a backup. In about 10. If he goes 4-5. He gives the ball back to Nick Foles, I'll be very happy.
Yeah.
I gotta give him a yay.
A yay.
A yay.
I think he'll be pretty good, man. I think so far he's doing pretty good. He's not really throwing picks. If he's thrown any, can you think of any that he actually threw?
I know he threw a pick in the first game, but it wasn't his fault. It bounced off of somebody's hand.
Bounced off, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's got good vision. So, I think he'll get him through, like you were saying, and hopefully 4 wins. I believe 4 wins. I see that happening. So, the last one on this list is an interesting situation because the quarterback is not injured, and I wanted to save this one for last because we kind of talked about this in a few shows ago, and we made fun of this pick, Daniel Jones of the New York Giants. This was such a weird story. 38-year-old Eli Manning is being benched. Now, obviously, Eli has won 2 Super Bowls. He's basically a legend in New York. I mean, and some would say he is, some would say he isn't, defense issues, whatever. But at the end of the day, the dude has 2 Super Bowls. I mean, not every quarterback can say that. And so they're benching him. And he's not hurt. He's not anything. They've had a rough go of it. They're 0-2. So, yay or nay on this decision to bench Eli for Daniel Jones?
I gotta say nay. Just why? I mean, maybe give it mid-season. It's week 2. The offensive line's not that good. Is it really beneficial to you to play Daniel Jones? Do you think you're gonna make the playoffs? I know it's week 2, and you never know. Obviously, it's only week 2, but the whole point of starting Eli was to hopefully be competitive. Well, now that we know he's not competitive, that's okay. You can still play him. In my eyes, I got to say nay on the decision. Eventually this season, I definitely would say yay. But right now, I think it's not the greatest decision for the organization. I mean, it could be good for Daniel Jones if he gets some valuable playing time and remains healthy and gets a couple wins under his belt. That'd be nice. But if he gets injured, that happens,
And now it's awkward because now Eli's got to come back in, and you kind of shunned him a little bit, yeah?
Yeah, if I'm Eli, I'm just retiring this season, or just at any point. It's all right, I'm a good guy.
Right. Might as well move on, So there's a couple quotes that Manning did come out after finding out about this news, and he says, basically said, well, you can wish all you want. That's not the way I played it, and that's not the way it played out. In some ways, I signed up for this knowing when you draft a young quarterback, this can happen. I got to live with it and make the best of it. I'll support Daniel. I'll be a good teammate, and I'll do what I'm told. Oof.
I just think it's a little early to pull the trigger. And also, I know it didn't matter too much to the Giants because of how they did him last season when they benched him, breaking his start streak. That was completely bullshit. But this one, so that kind of made this not such a hard decision, If he still had that streak going on, I think he plays through it. But that was so disrespectful to him, I think.
It's a sad way to go out, And I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, Daniel Jones had a solid preseason, but I mean, overall, man, no one, when he was drafted, no one really everyone was pretty much shocked. And I don't know how to put words into it. I don't want to say, I don't want to wish anyone bad luck. And I don't want to say that, you're not good enough. I never want to say that about somebody. But has he proven it? Throwing him out there is not going to be any different than Eli, in my opinion. I don't think anything's going to change. I mean, no offense, their wide receivers are shit. They have terrible wide receivers. Their only weapons are Barkley and Evan Ingram right now.
They get Golden Tate back after week 4, but still.
I mean, it's Golden Tate. He was backup in the Lions. He was the backup there. So
he wasn't the backup. I mean,
well, he was second to Marvin Jones, I would say.
I would say he was above Marvin Jones, but he was before Kenny Galladay started taking off,
Yeah.
Kenny Galladay's taking off now, and I think that's what made him so expendable in Detroit so that they could send him to Philadelphia.
Born and raised. So yeah, that's an interesting situation. We'll see how that develops. We'll see if Daniel Jones becomes what the Giants hope he'll become. But honestly, that's a really shitty situation. The Giants are terrible. They suck.
Yeah.
And it wasn't Eli Manning's fault for the reason they're losing or they're 0-2. I would not even put somewhat of the blame on Eli. Yeah, he's not as fast as he used to be, but I think he's a general. I think he's field general. I think he gets respect from the players out there. So can Daniel do the same? Time will tell. That brings me to this next player because, as we were saying, ages, Eli Manning is 38 years old. So compared to this guy, he's still a young buck. Tom Brady, 42 years old, is still slinging that dang ball, man. And as much as I don't like the Patriots, I unfortunately have to give some respect to this old man. This dude takes so many hits. I mean, if you watch him in a game, this dude gets tore up. The only reason I want to bring this up is because right now they're 2-0. They just got Antonio Brown, and he lit up last week. Absolutely lit up. Before that, they had, like in week 1, they had Josh Gordon. They have Julian Edelman, a litany of running backs that can catch outside the backfield. So the only reason I'm bringing up Tom Brady is a couple of reasons. One, he's old. He's 42 years old.
Right.
2, his QB rating right now overall is 124.8. So 124.8. That's incredible. His first game was 124.7. His second game, 124.9. So it actually went up. He has no touchdowns in 2 games. Or no interceptions, sorry. He has no interceptions in 2 games. And he has 5 touchdowns total, 605 yards total. His completion percentage is at 68.8. My question to you, Tyler, how long can this last? With the team that he has now, I'm trying to start a little bit of drama here because age catch-ups to you at some time, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, but if you know, he's got the easiest, most cushiony job in all of quarterbacks. You know, he like somehow he finds a way to stay upright all the time, or like players are scared to tackle him because you know if you tackle him, you're gonna get a flag. You know, refs are so on his side. So I think with the refs being on his side and you know, honestly, like I'm not bullshitting you, Amp. I know that he's such a puny guy and everything, but honestly, I'm waiting. I'm just fucking waiting for that day where I get a Bleacher Report breaking news, fucking Tom Brady, PDs, and all that shit. Like he's just I don't know. I feel like he's cheating somehow, you know. But as far as if he keeps up this rate and he has the receiving core that he continues to have and the talent around him, I think he could play till 45. Honestly, he said that before, right?
That his limit was hopefully 45.
Barring like a breakdown of his arm, like his elbow or shoulder, or a just bone crushing hit that just says, okay, I'm good. I got my rings. You know, I'm out. Or some freakish accident. I really think this guy can play to 45.
And
as long as Bill is there and he can stay upright.
Yeah, you talk about Bill. Let's kind of go through what he has around him. I know I kind of just vaguely went over it, but you have Antonio Brown, okay? Yeah. Josh Gordon, if he stays clean. Mm-hmm. Julian Edelman. Sony Michel. Yeah. James White.
Yeah.
And where the fuck did this guy come from? Rex Burkhead is actually relevant in that system somehow. And then on the back burner, when I mean that, I mean could possibly happen at any moment. Rob Gronkowski has shown some want to come back, and he made a statement saying it would only take me a month to get back into football shape. Now, obviously, it may take a little bit longer, but I don't think Bill would care. I think Bill would bring him back immediately and just get him ready as fast as humanly possible. I think he would. Now,
Rob's got to. I mean, I know it's going to take him a month, but he's got because he's small right now. Like, I mean, he's in incredible shape. Like, dude's ripped to shreds, but he's like he's slim. Like, he's like wide receiver slim. You know what I mean? Like, he would have to. He's not the Gronk we
Yeah.
once know, which might make him a better athlete.
could.
I don't know. Who knows?
It could. Slimming down
Yeah.
can make you faster, more agile. And I mean,
I've seen
you don't just lose strength
I
like
saw-
that. I mean, he's still probably a strong sucker.
Yeah, I saw a quote the other day from this Stoner magazine, and it was like, I didn't retire. I've never turned in my papers. I just took some time off to smoke some gas. I thought it was so funny because he actually does invest a lot in marijuana. Funny stuff.
All right, so I just sent a group chat to our group on fantasy football because we're gonna talk fantasy football next.
I got a message on
yeah.
Facebook.
I sent it out to the guys to see if they'll chime in. Hold on a second. On Facebook. Sweet. Chime in.
Dude, I'm excited for
All
this
right.
conversation.
Shit talk time. All right, here we go. All right, so kind of covering all that. Here we go. So I'm loving this portion of our show where you know what? Let's give it 1 second before I chime in. This part of the show, I want to shit talk our fantasy football boys. This is fun, and Tyler is actually 2-0, so I know he has a lot to say. But before we jump totally into that, Tyler, I did want to do a fun segment with you. Did we decide on how much NFL base salary? How much is it? Let's see. All right, so this is a segment that I just thought would be fun. We were talking last night about it. Before we jump into our fantasy football shit talking, Tyler, the base salary, 1-year contract for a minimum NFL player to be on an actual roster is $480,000. Okay, so I'm a GM. I come to you. I knock on your door. I say, "Hey, son, I think you got something. What can you bring to the table? I'll give you $480,000 right now for a 1-year contract. What can you bring to the team? Go."
I got to tell you, Mr. GM, for $480,000 for 1 season of work, I will eat 30 hairballs, cat hairballs. They just got to be freshly hocked up. I'll do it.
Just 30 hairballs.
No, I do it for I do 300. You seem like a stiff kind of guy. I'll do
Boy.
300.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You're on the team, son. Good job.
$80,000. So,
I'm proud of you.
So I come to you as a GM. I say, sir, I like what you put out there. I like what you put on tape.
It's me.
You've done some good stuff. We like what we've seen here at the organization. We feel like we could use you and your talents. Could you just give us a brief description of what you could do for us for the NFL minimum of $480,000?
You want to know what I could do for you, Mr. Williams, Mr. GM Williams? $480,000. I'm telling you right now, man.
I'm listening.
Yeah. What were you gonna say? Oh, okay.
No, I'm listening.
Yeah, listen. This is the interview, and I'm already messing it up, but I don't care because that's who I am. $480,000 for 1 year. This is what I'll do for 1 year for your team, only for your team. I won't do this for any other team, Mr. Williams. I promise you. This is what I'll do for you. I will eat every single prep game, any prep game that the coach tells the players to do. There's 16 games out of the season, and because of my mentality and what I'll do, I'll prolong this through the postseason as well. But for every preseason hype game, whatever, the coach tells one specific player, or however they want to do it, they can bring in whatever they want to make me eat it or drink it. Whatever they want, whatever they think would hype them up, get them hyped. I'll do it in every prep game one time. So 16.
Okay.
What?
So here's what I think. Here's what some players, we do have a little bit of a hazing program.
Yeah.
And some players do have relatives that live in trailer parks.
Love them.
And I don't know if you know this, but they have these trailer parks and they have deodorant that they rub. Now, part of the hazing that we want to do and part of the eating that we want you to do is we want you to lick the top of all the trailer park deodorant. All the trailer park deodorant.
Every one of them.
You'll lick the top of them.
$408,000. Let's go. All right.
You got it. You're on the team.
Thank you.
You're on the team.
Sweet. I made the team. I'm gonna call my mom.
One more thing I do for a NFL $480,000 league minimum, contract for one season. One full 24-hour day. I will take freshly hot light bulbs, break them on the ground, and then walk on the glass for a whole day, 1 day a week for a whole season. I'll do that for a league minimum contract.
Ouch.
And that's sacrifice.
That's some serious sacrifice. That's some serious sacrifice.
Yeah.
I know for a fact I would do this. I would be the tackle dummy for. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that. I couldn't do that. I couldn't. I don't think
You're gonna say Calais?
I was gonna say like one defensive end, like to warm them up before a game. Like I would do it for one, like for a game. So
they would murder
they
you,
would kill
bro.
me. I couldn't do that.
They would do it for fun.
They wouldn't even be, and they would probably do it like more than once too. So, all right. So I get.
That's not worth the $480,000. That's where we're getting to at this point.
Okay, so let's move on. So fantasy football, I kind of like this part of the show now because now we can put some drama in our fantasy football league, and hopefully some of the guys are chiming in. I hope they're watching because boys, we're about to rip into your ass. I liked how I said that. So going to the season, let's go to the overall view. As it stands right now, Tyler Williams is 2-0. He's in third place. Myself, 84 helmet problems. I am in. You like that name, by the way? That's a pretty good name.
I do.
I'm in fifth place, tied with four of the guys. Now, obviously, this is week 2, so there's still going to be a lot of ties going around at this point. But I'm in fifth place because of my points total. Tyler, last week you played against the commish, Mr. The Cumin, Pelvic Fury Do, and you put an absolute butt whooping on him, 150 points to 84 points. Can you kind of talk through that game? Just kind of express how your day went.
Well, my day went very, very well. Very, very well. I decided not to say anything to the commish and let everything that happens just wash over him. And just so that he feels it. His weekly grade was an F, by the way. I don't know if you got that. I got an A-, so I had some mistakes myself. But he, sir, got an F. He scored 84 points. So as the day went on, the Packers played first. And we know that Mr. Kumin, we know he loves him some Aaron Rodgers. We know he left the Jags for the Packers. What we also know is he benched Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones. Or was it Devontae Adams?
No,
one of the two.
Jones.
I don't know. He benched 2 Packers who went nuts. And he still would have lost if he played them. But my point is, it wasn't a good move.
Well, to be fair, though, Aaron Rodgers, well, I got to give him credit. Carson Wentz, he did start Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz scored more points than Aaron Rodgers. But you are right about Aaron Jones because Aaron Jones blew up. He had 24 points. And who did he replace him with? Joe Mixon, who had 5 points.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, that's good for me. Good for me. I would never. I don't think Joe Mixon's that good, anyways. Period. Ooh. But that's just me.
He was drafted.
I would have never drafted him. But I was on an airplane, so I only drafted half the team.
Pelvic had a rough day. The commish had a rough day. 2 players on his team scored nothing. Absolutely nothing.
0.
He only had 3 players scored double digits, and barely. Sammy Watkins was one of them, and he only scored 10 points. The other two broke 20. Past that, I mean, all
Read his,
singles.
read his bench.
His bench wasn't much better. Aaron Jones obviously was the 24-pointer, so that was like the highlight.
24 points.
He still has Jordan Reed on his bench, the Washington tight end, 0 points, obviously. He still has James Crowder, who got 8 points. Gio Bernard had 1 point, and Sutton had 8 points from Denver, who, he could have started in Alshon Jeffrey's place, but again, it wouldn't have made a difference. Now let's look at Tyler's roster real quick. Russell Wilson went off, absolutely crazy, 30 points. OBJ, 6 receptions, 161 yards. What? Antonio Brown, again, showing off. He had a touchdown, 56 yards, 4 receptions. It's PPR, so it's really good. But this is the big one. This one, no one really could have saw it coming. Mark Andrews.
I saw
Mark
it.
Andrews, 8 receptions, 1 TD, 112 yards. What?
I saw it coming, dude. That's why I moved him in the starting. He scored 24 points the week before. And Lamar Jackson is, while he's very talented, he still needs to rely on his tight end. So it's a good play. I actually moved him into the starting role this week. So I saw it coming. I knew it.
He felt it. He felt it. He synced it.
I felt it. Just the tip.
The tip, and that's his team name, folks. For years, that's been his team name. Moving on to me, to explain this situation, I would have won if I had played. Let's see. I would have won if I played 1, 2, 3, 4. Of any of these other teams, I would have beaten.
Is this how annoying as I sound like every other year?
What, if you played any other team? Yes, this is exactly how you sound. It's terrible. So I would have won if I had played any of these other teams. It wasn't a bad week for me, honestly. It wasn't great. It wasn't great, but it wasn't the worst.
But did you win though?
I didn't win. But let me explain why. Let me show you why, okay? Tyler Boyd had 22 points. What? Cooper Kupp, that's his name, right? Stupid Cup. 17 points. Barkley went off, had 21 points. Todd Gurley, for some reason, had 15 points. Travis Kelce, stupid, 23 points. And then Austin Eckler. How do you even get 22 points out of 66 rushing yards, 1 touchdown, and 6 receptions? Like, that doesn't even make sense. It's just stupid. I hate this game. And then I, on the other hand, had a phenomenal pickup, by the way. Mr. Dak Prescott, for some reason, was still on waivers, and picked him up. And Studley made 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Thank you, and F you, Baker. Julio Jones, I hope they don't watch this. Julio Jones went off as well. Mike Thomas, he's getting, targets, I guess. Darren Waller was another one of those I picked up. He had 12 points, and then Terrell Williams. Those two are going to be the studs in that Oakland offense, excluding Josh Jacobs. So past that, Josh Gordon, I didn't really have any other options, and I knew that he wasn't going to do well because Antonio Brown was showing off. But God damn it, my running backs, man, they just don't want to try. Like, I don't get it.
Bro, you need
I need a running back. Chris Carson's letting me down in week 2. Duke Johnson, man, fuck Carlos Hyde, dude. And then
I'll trade you Matt Breida.
Devontae Freeman, I'm thinking about it while I'm talking. Devontae Freeman, I didn't start, but good thing because he didn't do shit either. I got a couple of hopefuls on the bench, but this waiver wire this week, I went nuts. I went absolutely nuts. I picked up a bunch of new people. I'm learning. I've learned over the past that you just got to go for it, man. You can't just rely on your drafts. You got to go for it. I've been listening to a lot of lot of fantasy podcasts, and they're telling me to stay active on the waiver. That's what I'm doing, and I'm going for heavy hitters, and I'm hoping that Demarcus Robinson is the real deal.
Well, he actually, that's a very good pickup, and I think he is the real deal. The only thing that may be keeping him from being the real deal is all the mouths that need to be fed around him. But he's always had amazing catch ability. Like, he can catch anything. As you saw this past week, he made some pretty, like, kind of acrobatic catches, bending in awkward ways and whatnot. But I think that's a great pickup, man. Good job. I think that's a good one.
So we'll see. This week, James Conner is supposedly not playing. We'll see how that goes. So I picked up.
Really? Last I heard he was playing. Have you heard anything recent?
From what I heard, he was still not practicing, but he could play last minute. I picked up Jalen Samuels just in case, because, I mean, why not? My running backs suck anyway, so. Right. And then I'm starting Devontae Freeman because they're playing Indy, but I'm very optimistic about that. I did pick up Raheem Mostert.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens. I mean, he blew up last week, and with Tevin Coleman out, you never know. It sounds like they want to do a 2-back system in San Francisco, so why not? Because no one else is going to do anything. So my home run hitters are Julio and Dak right now, and hopefully they can keep me in games longer than I'm projected to be in. As of right now, I'm supposed to get my ass kicked to the guy that you kicked ass to, but you never know. It's fantasy football, so
you never know.
That's the thing.
You never know.
Any last minute trash talking, shit talking that you want to do before we call it?
Who am I playing this week? Let me go look and see who I'm playing.
Let me see. You are playing Jacking Off in a Cup. Matt Izzle. Matt's a new player this year. So Matt Izzle's a new player. He's 1-1. His roster is Jared Goff, Adam Thielen, Robert Woods. Wow. Mr. LA over here. DJ Moore, Kamara, Kerryon Johnson, Jimmy Graham, Damian Williams.
He's got a pretty good team. Like, I mean, he kind of handcuffs himself with. Well, I guess he doesn't really. Well, with Robert Woods, and doesn't he have another Ram?
Well, it is Jared Goff.
No, that's not much of a handcuff. They work hand in hand.
Darrell Henderson.
Yeah.
So, but he's not starting him. So.
To him, I got to say that I hope that he has a wonderful day on Saturday. That's all I have to say.
I'm coming out a heavy hitter this year, man. I'm not holding back. In the past, I've always kind of like not shit talked, and it hasn't really paid off for me. This year's all about new for me. Okay, this year I've gone totally different. In the past, I've always drafted a tight end early. In the past, like in the when people start shit talking and stuff, I usually keep my mouth shut because I'm worried, it might come back to haunt me. I'm done with that, man. Commish, I'm coming for that ass, and I'm gonna whoop it. And then I'm going to sizzle it, and then put some salt on it, and then I'm going to butter it like Ruth Chris. And it's going to be a Ruth Chris steak ass. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be it's going to be crazy. So, Commish, you better watch yourself, watch your hiney. And I'm telling you, man, you have no idea. The hurricane is coming through. So, Commish, suck it. Commish, which by the way, his icon is an eggplant, so clearly he sucks it. Yeah. So there's that.
That's good, dude. I like your attitude.
Thank you. That's what I need. Positivity.
Yeah.
So that's our fantasy football roundup. It's not really to like give anyone advice or anything. It's more literally just like shit talking.
To recap our own fantasy shit.
So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. This is 60 Minute Suspension. T-Dub, Tyler Williams. You got any turf stuff coming out?
Do look for our Week 3 NFL picks coming out either tomorrow or Sunday. Haven't decided. Sometimes I can be lazy. Also going to pretty much put out a State of the Jaguars Week 2. It's a sad thing when you have to do that in Week 2. That's typically an off-season thing. But we're going to go ahead and address it now. Also might think about it just a special on Garner Minshew.
Oh.
So follow me over at The Turf, Tyler Williams, theturfsports.com. You can always follow me there. I'm the head NFL writer for them, and we are a dope site to come follow and check out. We have a lot of cool things that pretty much meet everyone's interests.
Can you please make that your tagline? We're a dope site.
We're a dope site. This is funny. I saw a meme earlier today that said, Shad Khan must feel like he bought the bad dope when he bought the Jaguars.
Ouch.
Yeah, but he's also tripled the price of them. So
he's doing something, and I mean, he's changing that waterfront too. So he's doing a lot for that city.
Pretty cool.
Anyways. Yeah.
So anyways, that's what I got to say.
So yeah, follow him on The Turf. Go check them out. They're on Facebook as well. They have tons of cool articles, man. It's a bunch of different writers, everyone giving their own opinion, so it's cool. For us at Amplified Network, make sure you stay tuned with us. Next week we will be back harder because we have the theater goers coming back, and then we'll have this show, 60 Minute Suspension. But tomorrow night, we actually have a special guest on Funny to Informing. Make sure you check these guys out, man. They're hilarious. They're really good podcasts. If you ever want to just be involved in just conversation, they're just conversationalists, guys. Really funny dudes. Chris and, what is his name? Aaron? Not Aaron. Crap. I forgot your name. I'm sorry. But Chris and... oh my gosh, I feel awful that I can't remember his name right now. This is so bad. John Hannon, that's his last name. John and Chris, make sure you check these guys out. They have awesome content. They give you cool stuff. But tomorrow night, they have an actual painter coming on live in studio, and he's going to be painting. They're going to be asking him questions. It's going to be a fun time, dude. And then they also, Tyler, I don't know if you remember this guy. Do you remember Psycho Sid from the old wrestling days? They're going to interview him.
For sure. Oh, right? That's dope.
Yeah. So
cool. Is he going to be right there?
It won't be here. I think it's going to be a phone call. But still, Psycho Sid's going to be on Amplified Network. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Nice. Get him to hashtag it or something like that. Shout
I
it
hope
out.
so, man. I don't know if you knew this. Psycho Sid stabbed someone with scissors.
Is that why he's called Psycho Scissors?
That's not why it's called. No. Do you remember Arn Anderson? Do you remember that guy? That'd be a tough one. He was part of the Four Horsemen.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, that's the guy he stabbed. He stabbed Arn Anderson with scissors.
That's pretty awesome.
Intense. So, yeah, anyways, that's cool. So, anyways, check them out tomorrow night, guys. 7 p.m. tomorrow night. John and Chris, Funny to Informing, with a special guest who's going to be physically painting live on air. It's going to be fun, so make sure you don't miss that. Again, thank you guys for watching. We are 60 Minute Suspension. We will see you guys next week. Peace out.
Peace.
Bummer, no one jumped in.